Hi everyone and welcome back, and of course thank you for being back. Alright, so today we will be discussing the socio-economic problems of the black family, or rather the black community. Alright, in my perspective, really, I feel like the black family probably has the most economic problems compared to any other grouping of people. And it's not to say that black people are the poorest, or I just feel like we have really bad, what should I say, traits or norms or bad patterns. We have really bad patterns of the things that we do and the traits that we pass down from generation to generation when it comes to our finances. So I listed some of them down, about things I really despise or cringe at, I really hate about the cycle of the black family when it comes to finances. Number one, teaching our children about financial education. Um, um, I don't think that I was ever in a situation, for most part of my life, I grew up with my mother, and I was from her and the people around my family. I was never really taught all that much about financial education, how to go about spending money wisely, especially when it comes to my mother. I always remember my father. When I went to my father, it used to annoy me because he was one of those people who would tell you, economize, you have to save, you have to economize, you have to use less, you have to do things a certain way when it comes to money. My mother would always just say he's very stingy, which he is kind of very stingy, but also for a good reason, so too. But for the most part, I feel like, especially in black families, we fail to teach our children about financial education, about the do's and don'ts, about paying ourselves and setting ourselves up for the future, thinking about the future at all times. And we also have this reward system. We love giving ourselves reward. Oh, I just read this book, I should go give myself a reward. Reading a book was a reward. Anyways, that's another topic. But yes, for number one on my list would be financial education, passing down financial literacy skills to our children, having them read books on financial literacy and so on. Another issue that I have with the black community, that I find that there is within the black community, is parents not setting their children up for life. For example, I would see people of other races, when their children reach a certain age, or at a time when they are ready to leave home, they already bought them a piece of land, they bought them a car, or they do the lease, they buy them a fridge, or they do the lease for them. Even if they cannot do so much more for them, they do the least for them, and they try to set them up for the real world, set them up for life. At least if they have a small savings account for them or whatever, they always try to set their children up for life. And I find we really lack that in the black community. when most most black people, young black people, leave their home, it's always the other way around. It's never that, oh yes, my father has this piece of land waiting for me that I can build my own house out of, or I have these 2 sheep from my family, or these 2 goats, or this cow, or some kind of startup. They never really set their children up for a life, and I feel like that's another major issue in the black community that we really need to work on. Not only do I feel like we don't set our children up for life in the black community, but rather so we do the total opposite. We take away from them. A lot of the times, a lot of my friends, a lot of my family members, instead of you getting into adulthood and having something to rely on, or something to give your head start, a push in life, you always, and it's not so much that your parents are deliberately doing this thing, but it's just that over the years they never really put anything in place so that you would have something to fall back on. But usually it's the tendency that we have to turn around, not only now take care of ourselves and our children, but also take care of our parents as well. A lot of times before you even leave home, you now start, you probably got your first job, you're trying to pay for your college year. That's another thing. hardly you would find it that black people pay for schooling or higher education for their children throughout. Usually you have to, especially in most cases I know about, at least you'd have to go find a job. I mean, I'm sure that if their parents did better so that they could have done better, they would have provided better for you. But most of the time it's just this reoccurring cycle whereby you, as soon as you leave school, let's say you're trying to go back to further your studies, right? Not only do you have to work and go to school to pay in order, sorry, to pay for your education, but you also have to help out the family, pay this bill, pay that bill, this is on you, this and that. It's almost as if you're paying rent whilst living at some place where you should call home. And it's like you're not really, although you're trying to push yourself forward, there's also this chain on your foot, or this chain around you, or this rope around your body, with someone trying to pull you back. And it's not to say that you don't want to help your parents, or you shouldn't help your parents, because you really should, especially when you're in a position to. But sometimes you're not even in a position to, and you're trying to climb up the ladder, this class ladder that we have in society, and it's like you're still getting pulled back. And this cycle always keeps on continuing because we never put aside or think about our children's future. It's just that, oh yes, your parents, I have this responsibility, I have to feed you just because it's my responsibility. But finally you get to be on your own, so now it's your turn to repay me, you know, that type of attitude. And I think it's not just that our situation is bad alone, or that we may be poor, or that we may not have a substantive amount of money or finances to help our children, but it's just that our mindset as well keeps us back. Another major plight, especially within the black community, when it comes to financing, is life insurance. And I recently had a talk with my parents. A major plight I find within the black community, within the black family, is not getting life insurance. Someone told me that black people are the lowest contributors, sorry, to life insurance. We do not buy life insurance because we have this mentality and this way of thinking, oh, when I'm dead, or you do with me what you want. But it's not like that. And it's like, okay, I will just be paying this thing, but I'll not even get to enjoy it, whatever. But you have to look at it in a lens that this is setting my children up for the future. Even if you take out 3-4 life insurance accounts on yourself, which I plan to do, so that, you know, your nieces and your nephews and your children too can get this head start. Oh, so you know that when I die, one income stops coming in, but at least I left back something. Even if I didn't get to save a substantial amount, at least I know when I die, my children don't only have that burden of burying me, but also they get a push instead of just that burden. They get a push, you know, probably this life insurance money would be the money they use to start up a business, or to buy a piece of land, or to do something substantial for themselves. So it's not just the fact that, you know, that they have to bury you, or I have to get buried, or, you know, how we usually think, do with me what you want when I'm dead. But we leave something back for our children to give them a further push. A lot of people would look at other people and think, oh, his family probably had money, or how all of a sudden he got to start this business, or so on, right? Knowing that probably his aunt died and she left him on her life insurance, whatever, right? And he got that push from her, although she's dead now and she can no longer help him or have his back in any way possible. At least she gave him that push in life, regardless whether he's 30 or 40 or 25, you know. So that's another thing I feel like we really need to work on within the black community, is having life insurance. Not just thinking about ourselves, but thinking about children and our grandchildren. Even if we have life insurance, 3-4 life insurance, and our children get to a point where they don't even need it, then we can pass it on to our great nieces, our great nephews, our grandchildren especially, so that they have a push. Write this one down, but this last point is that we sell we sell too much in the black community. We sell assets. It's not that just we sell, because selling is good, having business is good. I'm not talking about that type of selling, but we like selling our houses, selling our cars, selling our land. We sell way too much. These are the things that we should actually be buying and not selling. Buying life insurance, buying houses, buying cars, buying land, buying assets, buying fixed assets, so that we can pass on this. Like, it is so important. It is so important to pass on. Imagine if you to leave school now, and you know you have this piece of land, and you have probably like $10,000 in the bank. At least you have something to start with and something to push with. But no, you're going to go sell your house to go rent. It makes no sense. And I literally know people who have done that, sold their mother's house or sold their house instead of passing it on to their children, and then they're now in a situation where they're renting. And which brings me to another off the head topic, renting. It is like, I cannot stress how important it is to at least have at least one house. I'm not saying that everybody can possibly have a house to rent when they in the older ages, right? But I feel like this is something so important to do, and something that I would also want to do when I get older. So even when I have my home, at least have one or two houses that I can rent, so that even when my children get older, I can give one to them. Or even if I pass my own to them, at least we have this fixed income. People who always, that's one thing I feel like people will never stop needing a house to rent. So that brings me to the end of this video, and I have no more pop-up ideas, but that brings me to the end of this video, and I really hope at least you take away one or two things from this video. And if you did come to the end of it, then a thumbs up would be nice, and if you're not already subscribed, then you can of course do so, and we'll see you in my next video.